in our meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Jean's working on a presentation as well to get funding from Kernel. Right, Jean? And we may work on
Maybe.
we may work on a website as well for the DB research, as it could be applied to much more than just a library.
But the website is not only for the DEB. I mean, if you agree, is not the website of the DEB research. It's the website of the Art Desi Lab.
Oh, okay, good.
That include the DEB research. That is based on the DEB research.
Got it.
If you agree.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Okay, cool. And would you say that's a good update for the dynamic energy budget? Oh yeah, exploring.
And the connection with the Consilience library? The curation? Yeah. Better curation.
Oh yeah. Nice. Okay. So, and then the regen workflow, did anyone flow any energy towards the regen workflow, or did anything from the regen workflow thread energize you at all? I think we briefly discussed doing like the quantum twin thing. Or was that in the Consilience library? Yeah, that was in the Consilience library. Okay. So, Steph, you made an alternative to the Google Doc in Jot form. Okay. Would you like to talk more about that?
Yeah, maybe just have a look at it and tell me if there's like things missing. Because I commented last meeting about like improving the selective curation. So yeah, now I just made this thing and I was wondering what you think about it. It has some limits because it's a free version. So yeah, it's more an idea if it's like the Consilience library website to have this kind of type form kind of interface instead of a Google Doc.
Okay.
So it has all the info and it kind of flows quite easily to make corrections.
Mm-hmm.
Does
it allow? Does it allow for like multiple curations, or would you have to fill out the?
Yeah, you can curate as much as you want, but just on this email, like the free version, if we don't want to get like to pay for yacht form, because with Typeform it's the same, like the free version, it allows up to 100 per month or 500 in total.
Okay.
There's also a 100 megabyte limit if you upload files. So if you don't, yeah, you can just buy the account, but maybe it's more an idea to actually build something like this within the website. But I just wanted to see like how it looks like if it would be part of this kind of website, I think.
Right. Yeah. Okay, cool. And then, would someone like to speak more about this point here? So, do we have any ideas how to hack time and thought transmission before Neuralink? How can we connect the people who have the knowledge, I think that's what that's supposed to say, with those who want to have access to it in an enjoyable transdisciplinary manner that builds relationship? Okay. Maybe for this we can hold like a session, like a group session.
Yeah, definitely. That was basically the idea. Catching up on almost not all that happened in text, that was basically what came out. It's like I feel like we're having some more experience also from the Omega curation, like what people share and how they then maybe tag, or for example, my experience was like tagging other people, connecting people who I
Mm.
thought who I learned actually, hey, they share a common uh, almost hero like Bateson, etc. So that, and then also some ideas. Don't want to put it in here, but definitely if we have a next session for T Consilience Library, that would be the question. Maybe I would, yeah, ask the group or contributors, and also would like to dig deeper if I can.
I actually just
Um,
came from the SoftGov call, and
mhm,
the question they're wondering how to well, basically almost this question as well. Like, how do we have a lot of people who are interested in learning from the various petals of the
uh-huh,
cryptoeconomic
okay.
flower, but like, how do we connect them to the subject matter experts? So I think when we do host a session, we should invite the SoftGov people around it, or we could even host it within a SoftGov call, because it seems like
Mm-hmm,
a topic
mm-hmm,
that was on
mm-hmm,
everyone's
mm-hmm.
mind.
And should we get those people too? I think maybe they have also answers, or maybe just questions. I mean, uh, some, and I also have feeling like people don't really want to talk about being stressed out. It's
Hmm.
why should they? Like, it's every one of us is like, okay, it's my problem. I should be dealing with it. But in a sense, it's also common, a very common and a common problem if you don't take care of the people who are providing for these public goods,
Mm.
right? It's almost like thinking about the fishes, but the fishes are starving in a sense, in a totally subverted sense of it. If it makes sense, maybe I need to be more concrete. But token engineers. Teaching themselves, asking, getting along, getting a job, working on the job, learning on the job, and so on. Wanting to share, but then, yeah, it's really hard. Also, the way I see it, like we want to get the refi boot camp off the ground,
Yeah.
right? And everyone is trying to make time, but everyone is stuck in projects. So this coordination with a little time left, maybe that is the main issue of a commons. Like we all just volunteer extra time that is almost like leftover time. I don't want to be, I don't know, but that's the point. I mean, I'm sorry if I'm, using words wrong. I don't mean it to in any judgmental way, not at all. Like, if anyone understands that, I, or like actually, we would love to. I would love, and I know everyone who's saying that we work on projects we love in our spare time because they just don't pay well, or because everything else is paying so well. I don't know why, and that is kind of the main issue. And these are like a public goods, yeah. Question more like, yeah. um. Okay, didn't want to disturb. And also, like, what really is the common good? The most fundamental question everyone is just dancing around, like what it is.
I think
I
it's the
think it's
library.
definitely, yeah, I think it is really learning resources, because if there were
Yeah.
more token engineers, then it wouldn't be, you know, on few token engineers, which feels great maybe to be in demand or whatever, right? But ultimately, if you look at it, uh, no choice. Yeah, one is overrun and so on, and this keeps repeating. We're always short of token engineers. The people that go through any form of learning program, what have you, quickly get sucked up by the market. Most of them want to share back, but it turns out to be always very hard. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, and I agree. I do really agree. I think such a library would make a difference.
Yeah. Okay. I'll paste this into the SoftGov chat then, because then maybe we can start working on that together instead of just Omega, because they have the same questions anyway.
Mhm.
So for
And to be honest, actually, Livia was one of the ones initially who was also super excited about the library in and on itself in the beginning. So definitely yes.
well, from the call earlier today in SoftGov, it seems like one of the things that we were talking about different types of wealth, and one of the things that people are seeing most lacking in is, like, I guess, economic wealth. Everyone's kind of just okay or in not so good condition in terms of economic wealth. So people are having to, like, fragment their focus and time amongst various projects even outside of the TEC. So
Hmm.
yeah, it yeah, basically everything you said here is definitely the big problem. Um, I wasn't able to join the call on Monday. Would anyone like to talk about what happened during the call on Monday for the ideas?
Yeah, Steph.
Yeah,
Thanks.
like on yeah. Go ahead, sorry.
Oh no, I was just saying. I think Steph has the clearest picture. But I think just like broadly to synthesize, it's like how to visually use kind of what we're like mapping out on the display, and there's a couple of overlapping stuff that we saw even in dynamic energy budget. But yeah, Steph, your ideas about the website.
Yeah, in short, like on the MVP specs document that Merge started, like I started to write down a few ideas which kind of bring together a few ways that the library could actually exist. And then Letty actually contributed also a very nice part which connects more to also Satoru's his idea about like the NFT self-discovery game with making avatars.
Mm.
I've been just kind of thinking about making also a little view of like different elements and looking at examples that could be interesting as a kind of reference to a web designer. And then we talked about it. So in short, it's kind of an idea to create a space which could kind of update itself depending on the navigation by the users. Or do you have this black backgrounds with this knowledge containing within? Then this kind of edges, this kind of green things would be kind of the nodes or the contact points which would be accessible with then like all the content of the library curations. And then of course there would be the navigation which would be a bit like this flower. In short, like all the things are basically there. And then there would be another layer which is then the whole NFT layer which would be within this form. And then the questions are around like, okay, what kind of token engineering system would there be? Would it have like a token that incentivizes the use of the library, like interacting with it, logging into a wallet? Should it be like a wallet extension, or should it have its like website wallet on its own? Where should the data be? So probably best on a decentralized system. And all these things kind of led to a kind of insight that there's like three elements and that we are kind of gathering it in a GitHub org, and the material will be started to gather there. Also, Streamer D had some nice ideas about working more with what's it called, JS files instead of graphic files. So that's where we're...
Can I chime in with a question? Sorry to interrupt. Yeah, so I just wanted to ask, like, first of all, thank you so much, Steph and Letty. Like, you guys like add very creative and interesting, like participation to MVP spec. I just wondering. So, in the first phase of the website, do we want to have like this Web3 wallet connection, all those other things, or would so we just wanted to have a kind of more simplistic website for the first iteration, then we will work on the other iteration, like. So I'm just trying to like clarify it because Griff like just connected me with one of the developers from General Magic, and I was kind of explaining the library is more simplistic, like static website that has some different options due to like our quote unquote living library endeavor. But I'm wondering, should we add like this Web3 integration and all kind of more adding more complexity, let's say? So I think clarifying this will be helpful.
Yeah, from my point of view, like this is like an idea for a long-term kind of development. Of course, there's like the stack bit, which is already like a static one. So I guess the first thing is to create some kind of dynamic database that curators can log in. But I'm also not knowledgeable technically to say like, okay, what's feasible or not. So I guess that's more up to the budget and deciding like kind of like this idea that there is this game engine with like an NFT within it, and then like a fungible and a non-fungible token economy interacting, and a real-time updating, so it's always a different version. Of course, this is really beyond the scope of like producing a result, and so maybe it should have a roadmap that these are the things that we're working on. Maybe there's bounties there or some form of incentivization. So yeah, that's just an idea that I kind of like what happens when you walk through this kind of jungle with all this kind of green stuff as like knowledge. And
So one thing could be, I mean, towards the end, when we say, okay, we know what we want now, towards the end, we can make a roadmap out of this. And that's basically at the end, it says design spec. But then, of course, for the next round of funding that we want, we will obviously would be sensible to say, okay, this is the minimal thing that we can really get out there as the next adjacent possible. But what I liked just now, looking through the document, there is, and if that is how these things will emerge, I would definitely let's make room for it. I saw one thing that definitely triggered my mind as a curator, that was showing the one user actually that's the only thing that actually shows, or one of the things that shows user experience, I think. Like the interaction of the user with the content, and there's this question, like Dungeons and Dragons style. You enter yes, no, and you have a different path through the navigation. Just seeing that, I think for me is like, oh, okay, like this group is really trying to get something, some new experience out of this library, and that alone will just adds more to my motivation to contribute content. So when we think about value flows and things that positive feedback loops, these are the things that we should definitely focus on, the experience, user experience, and anything else like technical, connecting wallets and so on. And also, again, the financial model or the business model, as soon as it is clear what is the value that is going around and who are the contributors and why do they contribute value, and who is experiencing that value in which ways, then the token model, only then does it make to think about the token model. Before that, it's just a bunch of ideas, might work, might not work. But once you have a fundamental value flow, then monetization, you can call it tokenization, but actually monetization is much easier. So if and whatever then we need for tech support or technological implementation to make that happen, that can go into the spec and or roadmap, and that would be what we raise for. My 2 cents.
Just wanted to say, totally agree with like finding the like value proposition first and thinking about token and all those other stuff later.
That's really cool what is coming together in that document. You just want it to be a bit sorted, maybe. That's what I hear. But that's cool.
Sorry, like I chime in today a lot, but I just want to say, so maybe on Friday we can like a session, or before the next week, like we can have a session where we can discuss like some wireframes. Like I can put some initial drafts, like based on the discussion. Then we can play it around together. Like maybe we can like structure the website as like one Dungeons and Dragons, like play the game vibes, and one just hanging around in the library kind of thing. So like based on my understanding together, like it will be of course open, we can create some like draft wireframes. So this way, this may create some sort of like base idea for us. Then we can play it around together on a session, like an hour session. So then we can expand MVP spec, because like I think we need to like really clearly express what we need for the devs, because I feel like they're kind of very busy, especially the front end devs from General Magic. They are doing like a website, I believe, a different website, like, so they want me to provide like super clear, I believe, so it will help a lot.
Okay.
Okay, then I will just output images for the backgrounds that you can add to the wireframes, and maybe I already put them on the GitHub, so then you can just take them from there.
And with the wireframes, we can also test it with, curators and visitors of curation, like about their experience and what they expect.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, if you think this way for the tokenomics, which does make sense, usually, like, I don't know, when I used to work in design and development, I would gather like all the stakeholders, I guess, or including the users themselves, and then like hold sessions on basic. It's pretty similar to the value flows, like what are your problems, what do you need, and then everyone works, everyone shares their ideas for wireframes. Even if you're not a designer, you could still like draw something up and share your ideas, but it feels like we're going straight into like wireframing, right? That's just something to think about.
Maybe as a door opener, look at it as a door opener, because I don't know, or that would be my thing. Like, let's because it will help to come around for us as well, and then reach out to our stakeholders or people who are going to be using this, right? And then ask them to come join one of those sessions. Maybe these are then also better facilitated. That we can facilitate better as a group. As conversation starters, even.
Okay, cool. Any other updates for the library? Oh, I should share that.
We have a
Like
GitHub.
.gov.
That's so cool, by the way. And one idea or one thing, like also the Discord or having a chat per curation kind of. I could almost see the Discord of the library, and that would be also where those connections between people actually happen, right? Maybe you have this just saying like some form of flow experience using the library, but where do the real connections happen? Likely in its Discord, right? Here, one.
When I was thinking about like the library UI, I was imagining like there being almost like a mini forum underneath each curation that people can discuss and share ideas with, and even link to like their projects and how it helped them. But
Mhm.
we can start experimenting with that even in the collective curation thread, right? So anytime anyone posts
Yeah,
a
exactly.
curation, start a thread for that curation and see the conversations that happen or the connections that happen. How should we put that?
Of having the a Discord channel for the library, or maybe integrating the UX, because we were talking, how do we create a novel experience for the library? And I see that the only thing with Discord that we don't want to miss is like the actual creation of the resources, and those can be placed in our super basic MVP at the very beginning. And with the Discord, maybe we can create this social experience with other organizations, people coming in and just organizing the whole maybe experience of the boot camp or the other connections, and we will see there. But it's like another point of contact. So yeah, maybe we can do that.
Yeah. I will. Yeah. I will definitely ask them to do it like us, like just have this thread and talk about the resources, their reading list, and their ideas maybe, and then maybe from that they can create a curation. I would ask them to work with it as naturally as possible.
I wonder if oh sorry.
No, go ahead.
I wonder if we can start emulating that experience by like creating a separate server for the library, right? And then like I could create a Discord bot that takes in people's curation, so kind of like what Jotform does, but in the Discord. And then it splits it feeds the curations into different channels based on the petals as a thread, and then under each thread is where the conversations could happen. So people can start curating now, people can start forming connections now. It's just like in an experimental Discord server.
Yeah, I like it very much.
And then
I'll help if I can.
Yeah, I love that idea, because we have both things, like the feeding of the resources, and then we can just put it into the repository that is the final MVP for the wireframes and, well, the actual content. Yeah.
And then it'll be way easier to pass it on to them, because you just feel like we'll just create a different UI for this.
Very cool.
And in that Discord, we just can put the avatars for all the archetypes, and people can, well, we can just discuss the best way to make those connections as the archetypes and the creations, and that can be fitting to the final library repository in the super navigational way that is showing the interconnections and the dark matter and all this.
To be honest, I just got really excited about thinking about those archetypes within token economy, because it is coming together. Or we had these articles. I always wanted to have a real anthropologist dig into into our ethos, because I think it's amazing. But we had, we looked into how block science is organizing, what are the roles. There's this article I'll share immediately. And what else? And now with, again, like there's this new archetype emerging, the writer, the narrator or the storyteller and so on. And those are people who really need some good skills, right? You have to get the input from a smart contract dev who's spitting out, really horrifying UML diagrams, or even worse, they just click on generate UML and it comes out like a spaghetti thingy. Uh, and these writers, they're mostly professional writers, or that I see in projects. But there is then another problem, and that's something that I heard from someone who is a legal engineer. And she's like, yeah, I did that once, and it was all wrong. What the text was saying, it sounds better readable, it sounds accessible, but what's that worth if it's wrong? Right? So it's just you're propagating wrong information in a accessible manner, like very unethical. But anyways, like I think those archetypes, we can have some articles from our token engineering community and some trends that we're seeing. Maybe we can. I'm happy to add that archetypes. We do have them, especially crypto economics has actually quite clear roles, because at the end we always put things into code and we always have to explain things, and there are roles in between who sometimes are invisible, if you will. And with Omega, what we have now is really, thankfully, this people who are artist researchers. You are definitely into research, I would say, no? Satori, Steph,
Yeah,
Streamer D.
that's all I do all the time. So
Yeah, and I think, and that's my apologies, and because I think I also belong to those people who are just waking up to this. Um, many people think, oh, artists just get an idea, a muse, and then they're, inspired, and then actually art has a practice. And artists have practices, and then they have their own practices and so on, but they also look for inspiration. So it's right. Yeah. Sorry, didn't want to
yeah,
derail.
that's a very romantic idea of the artist, no? Like the
Hmm.
art and the muse, and I already see like the industrial age appearing.
And the other thing, though, also, what people are very romantic about, if a token engineer has their tools and the process, they know exactly what to do. No, you have to think in very new domains, and you have to sometimes really, or sometimes you have to inspiration first. That also happens, and then have to explain what is it and how did you arrive there. That too happens. That also happens to mathematicians and so on. But in token engineering, it happens a lot, and it's a good thing. It's just at the end, one way or the other, we need to make this accessible to the people who are going to participate in those token economies, right? Or even better, help people be part of that token economy design from the start, from the very first questions, and keep questioning. But okay.
So imaginary and creative flow.
Yeah, and this kind of tails into everything about like the mandala research and like narrative construction. It's like this. Even when Dogadas is talking about deconstructing the narrative, there's a whole chapter in Present Shock by Douglas Rushkoff,
Mm.
which talks about the collapse of the narrative, and
Mhm.
just about like this how the digital space even cuts up like time and medium, and
Mhm.
then like our relationship to that, to where present shock is something like we think we're in the now because we keep on getting all these alerts from everything that we're, when we log in, it's nothing but notifications, but that's not being in the present moment now, the DAO, the
Uh-huh.
TAO, and that like
Yeah, yeah.
distinction. Yeah. So I think bringing that in, and I'm glad my friend joined. It's just hard for him to join the morning stuff, but
Mhm.
we're gonna bring over some of the work that we've been doing together into the thread. So it's cool to see some of that stuff like linking up, and I think this goes back to the contact points, right? There's like these contact points, and then it's like these are like these web of domains, but like they branch out to whether you're researching your art practice, your own spiritual practice, your token engineering practice, or whatever, your whole
Mhm.
life journey, and then like all of those connections of those webs like kind of weaving together,
Mhm.
which I think starts off with the personal one, which is the narrative research, and then
Mhm.
later it branches to like the group dynamics where we're talking about the roles, defining our own roles, and seeing how our
Mhm.
own
Mhm.
individual flows are. And yeah,
Mhm.
that's the stuff
Cool.
we're
Yeah.
thinking about.
What is the twin experience? I want to participate.
Letty. Letty, you're muted if you're speaking.
Well, I can't unmute myself sometimes on Discord. Yeah, this is like the practice we will be doing because we're having this surreal and artificial time debates about we don't have time. This is like too much for us. We
Mm.
are all so
Mhm.
deep in our own pities and surreal human states. But this scientist, which is called Garnier Mallet, decided
Mhm.
that this is not scientific at all. And if we can develop these quantum powers or the capacity to think in our multiverse human experience, we will be having the best experience possible. So this is an invitation for us to
Yeah.
practice this related to the
Yeah.
library and say, yeah, we can maybe get ourselves into this kind of
Wow.
experience. So maybe we can do this, and in I don't know 1 month time or 1 year's time, we will be saying, "Oh, whoa, we saw
Mhm.
for that in experience,"
That's so
and that's
cool.
the an invitation to do that at some
Yeah.
point.
Should we have it the
Fantastic.
same time?
Next week.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's part of the reason why I created the virtuous cycles, because I wanted to see if there was a way to practically, deal with time so that it could be a generative thing rather than a thing that seemed like it was taking from us.
Yeah, this is like stepping into the unknownness of time, and it's like only a construct. So yeah, we'll be experiencing that, but maybe like in a social way. It is not very spiritual, this thing. So yeah,
Yeah.
like being connecting kind of playful
I
way.
no, definitely keen. Definitely will be there. And I also did. So I am trying a lot of things, obviously, because I think that's the highest leverage we can have if we find the way to work that actually fits our realities, and not the way how factory work was organized efficiently, and try to pull that over these fluent open networks. Mm, that will make a huge difference. And I also did the virtuous cycles that Durga does. I don't know if anyone knows or had the chance to see it. I did it, and I think it is really like I could imagine how you practice something that is known, or even add unknowns to it. Like it really takes. It's very structured, and it helps you to make progress. And I think it is for personal. If it's for you, for personal growth and learning new things, is definitely great. I just didn't. I've tried. How could we make this a tool of collaboration? You know, can we connect the weeks and then it becomes very much like it would become very much like a Scrum or so, and that's where we need something new.
Yeah, I was hoping to extend it into that, but I haven't had time to finish that.
Yeah, let's.
So
Why don't you join the Twin Experience and see what kind of new
yeah,
perspective we can gain from that?
yeah. It's the whole point is to allow for complexity, right? So that complexity is going to apply to relationships somehow, you know. So you can.
Mm.
I would imagine if you can personally discover that through a schedule, you might be able to collaboratively do that as well. But maybe you need other supporting structures like liberating structures or connection or other things to be combined in some kind of novel way. So anyway,
Yeah.
for sure, at some point I'll get to it, but just not now.
But if anyone is interested, I'm happy to share my notes as well, or yeah, the virtuous cycle. It definitely has benefit.
I'm interested. Is it a link that you followed, or what? Where did you have this? Was it on the Omega channel?
Look at this. Do you have the originals? Did you share them somewhere? I think, or your videos that you did.
I have a presentation and a video, and I think Sebnem's got a bunch of links. Maybe we can aggregate all that somewhere.
Yeah, if you give us something like a head document or so, I'm happy to put it in there as well.
Yeah, I
So
just
I
can't do
can
anything
just
right
share.
now. I'm talking to you on my phone
Yeah,
because
no
we're at a
worries.
power outage. So
Can
I'm
it be
sitting here in
posted
the
as a
dark,
curation?
listening to you guys. So yeah, maybe that could be a part of the curation. You know, I can add that.
Yeah, I think
And
that'd
also,
be super useful.
yeah, that was again one of those things that helped me with another very interesting personal breakthrough. So I really recommend using these different things to know know thyself. There isn't a 10-step process, or there isn't, why don't you do Vipassana or
Right.
any other. There is no this prescription, and especially in Omega, we do not want to prescribe anything, but this ability to check out models, check out things, and then also exchange. I think that makes huge difference, and everyone has their own breakthroughs in different ways. Yeah.
In relation to that, I've been thinking about like the call facilitation, and it's like, could we start talking about like where you've directed energy and how energy is flowed back to you? Because I think asking such questions could make visible, the connection that just happened between you and Durgadas, where Durgadas shared this resource and then you were like, oh, I tried it and it changed my life or something. That's the kind of stuff we want happening with the curation, is it? The curations in the library, is it not? So if we make such
Yeah.
connections more visible,
Yeah.
it would be great.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I
Makes
used to have
sense.
working groups every week about it to talk about that with folks in metagame and stuff. But yeah, I never developed it. I will say that in terms of curating meetings, that's again something liberating structures are really good for. So I'm working with Jeremy at Gospel of Change to visualize some of the graphics that he's made out of his professional experience dealing with those things. So hopefully he'll loop that back to the group.
That's happening in Gravity, right?
No,
Because
it's liberating structures just goes across any kind of meeting setup. Yeah. It's
But
not just
I'm
gravity.
always thinking we need a gravity curation. Please, people who are doing this, you're active in
Oh yeah,
gravity,
for sure.
or
Yeah.
please let's have them also somehow start such a curation thread and just share this amazing topics that are going around there as well. So if
Well, right
we
now
had
we're
that,
currently designing the website, so we're actually
Mhm.
really digging into all of the unique value and who and what we're doing. So out of that, I will make a point to make sure we're curating something to Omega with that. So thanks.
For the library, yeah, perfect.
I was just thinking when you talked before about the archetypes, that you see that there's archetypes, and immediately from all this Lacanian stuff that I've been reading, which is a lot of critique about Freud, it's also a very big split with the Jungian kind of vision of a worldview. So that made me think about like two different things. One being like seeing what's happening in Omega, not your own activity or your own contribution, but really looking from an analytical viewpoint at the other's work, which could result in a lot of like critique and destruction of things, but if it's done in a nice way, it will bring about like what the archetype is lacking. And then on another form, I was thinking of just something that I still have a desire to do, but I see it's like a lot of things to actually interact with, is like the whole Discord of Omega is a kind of knowledge resource. So to actually start like gathering all that information there. I don't know if that's like a sensible thing to do, if it's kind of useful to contribute that as a knowledge within the library, or how to present that. That's a big question mark still that I have. So I don't know if that would be an archetype in itself, but something that just kind of embodies all the knowledge that's been produced since a year or so. I don't know what you think about that.
We kind of started doing that in onboarding when we collected what people said in the threads, but it takes a lot of work.
Yeah. But I
have a
also
bit
wanted
of time for
to
this.
do it for the videos that Satori has been clipping,
Yeah,
and
that's
all of the Steph, you're taking care of the your visuals and so, right? So that is not lost. And I also think like we have it on YouTube channel of Imaginarium, so I think we will find them. But also the context that they are shared in is oftentimes quite interesting. So yeah.
So maybe for the coal then, when I was asking about like, okay, where have you directed energy this past week and how has energy flowed back to you? For this question, it could be like, okay, well, this curation gave me energy and here's the link to the curation or exactly how it was shared. And then this led to this. Would that make sense? Because then we're capturing the knowledge and what people find valuable right here in the agenda. The participants of Omega anyway.
Yeah, because Nick, you were looking for a way, right, to be able to analyze these flows like an structure, or maybe I'm seeing this like a temperature check on our physical energies. So maybe, yeah, we can look at this from also scientific point of view, like trying to curate this specific new analytic data tool to curate our own physical energies. And I think that's like another branch of research. How can we do this in an automated way as well? Like I put in this curation and I guess, well, this is an 8 in novelty. This is, well, out of 100, let's say, this is 80 in novelty. This is like 98 in my physical vibes. So maybe it's like a temperature gauge for that.
That's kind of how I envision a section in my graph about vibe check. It's like checking the weather of the energy in the group. Which way is the energy flowing?
We kind of tried that with the dynamic energy project call when we were like, okay, we're directing energy here. But people didn't like quantifying.
No.
No.
That's always becomes awkward, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's only with the emojis, and the emojis don't work either. So it's like the dep is gonna give us some kind of background or tool, but we couldn't reach it yet.
Mhm.
Because it's for nature and it's for phytoplankton. We are not phytoplankton. We consume.
John says we're plants like others. All we
Like
need is a bit of
reincarnate.
sun.
Human beings are plants like
It's
others.
like others. Yeah. Actually, do you know how plants or how a tree really through the leaves turn solar energy into almost 100%, transforms it almost without loss into energy for life. It's amazing. It has a quantum effect in it that is proven, and it has a clear process um, to make the chemical or clear chemical process to transform the energy. But that clear process is only 50% effective, and the whole quantum effect has around 50% what they call noise to it, and that noise allows for this almost 100% energy transformation. So, and that is something that is so stuck in my mind. I'm like, yeah, this is what, process. What is clear and needs to be done. No arguing that. But
That was why June was looking into this research in light. Like, if you can analyze what is light made of, you can see the dark in the light, and you just figure out all these kind of things. Yeah, we should do this to figure this out.
Oh man.
yeah, even hey, are you a particle or a wave? Can you please tell now? No, I cannot tell. So that's how sometimes we feel, and I think that's natural. If we would only commit to it, that is natural, and we are part of nature and not machines. Actually, the article that I shared about management 3.0 versus teal organization, it also goes and explains the, not teal, but the other colors, and orange, which is the efficiency, like where all of token engineering originates from, the scientific, right? It is machine oriented. We take things apart. We know how the parts function, and we put it back together, and it's gonna work like a machine. That works for machines, that doesn't work for socio-technical systems. The quantum part that's taking part in those systems makes it a bit more difficult as well as magical. So,
That's from the Donatella Meadows book, right? I remember that from the book.
The systems thinking part? Oh.
Yeah. When you mentioned about the machine taking it apart but you can't do the same thing.
Yeah, she like this woman is amazing as well, and I think she does reference a lot of Eastern philosophy, but in entirely solely systems thinking jargon, and that's a bit of an interesting translation, perfect contextualization, if you also just to comment on that, and I think that's why Donna made such a huge impact on so many people and is still having an impact on us. Okay, sorry. I was being a very loud newcomer again. Obviously, I can't hold it back. It's super interesting what you all say.
Well, I think it makes it more interesting, especially when you explain that Omega Cole's format is more like sparring. It totally changes how one could look at the coal, and it makes it way more interesting when people add stuff in like you just did, personally. Okay, so I guess back to the agenda for Omega onboarding. What we did is we spent some time like self-reflecting as a group on what brought us to Omega and where we're flowing, why we are flowing energy into Omega onboarding in the first place, and then we also reflected on what you shared about Omega, how it's about inner work basically, and we also discussed that our past ideas were kind of like efficientizing, I don't know the right word, for the newcomer to contributor funnel, which is not right. So we're going to be changing how we work in the onboarding. That's the update for onboarding. Any highlights of the week that people want to continue exchanging on now that the 1 hour is over?
That was cool.
I said, hey, we made it 1 hour. We are so good, right? And it works. We've proven. But I just wanted to add again the Omega onboarding, like what you've been doing since day one. It's amazing, right? Even or especially the focus of the start with the newcomer, etc. It brought so many things to light and also helped. I can of course only speak from myself and please everyone if you want to share something, but I think it helped get enough structure and also enough free space for us to actually have many different working styles get together and vibe or start vibing, and it's amazing what is happening to follow that. You know, strangers sharing music and dance and putting it together. That's just wonderful, and imagining that all is going to be applied also on crypto economics, token engineering, and learning resource commons for learning, the library as a start, just makes so much sense. And I just want to say it's not wrong. You know, don't please use that word. Literally, I don't think there is no right or wrong. Definitely, it helped so much. The pure focus on a newcomer, that we also found out, okay, you know, even if we want to help newcomers to come onto something and benefit from something, then we need those newcomers to become inhabitants, as well as help inhabitants, you know, live and thrive as well, right? So this whole thing that we depend on each other, that it's not codependence, but definitely it is interdependence. Making that visible, maybe for some it's natural, and they're listening to me like, what's that for a machine? But it definitely helped me a lot. So thank you for all the hard work that the onboarding team or group has been putting in. It's amazing.
Yeah, thank you everyone for all your being here.
Yeah.
See you on Thursday then for the Twin Experience call.
Yeah, just a reminder, to everybody to, work inside out, so you can't extend to the token engineering commons or anyone else. That's something you haven't extended to yourself. So, try to just remember to work, with yourself and prioritize yourself first, So, just a reminder.
I love that
Thank you.
reminder.
Thank you.
Can we do that every week?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Set an alarm for yourself. Remind yourself to prompt yourself to put yourself first.
So today I will have to jump off earlier. I have my sister here, and
Yeah, I need
she's,
to go too.
she's saying good night. And yeah, thank you for everything. It's been great to catch up, and it's really super effective. The new ways of organizing. Thanks everyone. Bye bye.
Thank you.
And thank you, Nick, so much
Bye.
for steering such a great call. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
All right.
So, Nick,
Hi.
so I had